It's an incredibly consistent record.
Yes. Well, he was the great hope as a youngster, of course, ruled the roost. The man being introduced was pretty handy as a junior as well, because Hugo Dellien got to #2 in the world in the junior ranks, hasn't hit the heights subsequently. He's had injury problems, various battles, but he has an opportunity tonight under the roof on Chatrier to put his name up in lights in the City of Light.
It's rather a sweet moment there where Dellien suddenly realised he'd forgotten to hold the mascot's hand as they walked out.
Yeah, I hope he wasn't deliberately blanking the mascot.
No, I think he was just in his own little world waiting for the nod to walk out, to make sure that they walk out in time with the introduction and in time with the music. Not literally in time with the music, but on cue, so to speak.
Well, on cue now, coming up that steep staircase behind the scenes. A 31-year-old, a Parisian, currently ranked 42 in the world. He's been as high as #6. He's been a unique performer over the years. It is Gale. He's got his arm around the mascot. He's a caring father these days, of course.
The mascot looks absolutely delighted. I mean, what a moment to be able to walk out. And as you say, Monfils, a natural entertainer, a very warm person, now a dad, of course, with his wife, Elina Svitolina, also playing here at Roland Garros this year.
And Gale is wearing a top very similar to those T-shirts worn by the spectators in the grounds the other night for Rafa's tribute.
Yes, it's sort of clay court orange, isn't it? White shorts, white socks, white shoes. Dellien's wearing a rather fetching baby pink ensemble.
I like that, actually.
Yeah, so do I. I think it looks good on the court.
We'll listen in to the preliminaries.
With them facing this way. And 1-for-1 is the warm-up, 25 seconds in between the points. If you want me to check the mat, let me know when I'm not sure for myself. Do you have any questions? No? Gal, would you like to call it? It's 10 or the stadium? 10? 10 he's called. Thank you.
Big moment. The toss of the coin. Well, she did a good job there, I think. I think Hugo Dellien's elected to serve, having won the toss. Could be wrong. It's quite hard to hear what was going on down there.
He was also desperate to get to his baseline, and he had to be called back for a couple more photographs. But now the preliminaries have been sorted out. The umpire safely puts the coin back into her pocket, and we will begin this battle. Elena, absolutely right. Gael Monfils looking to record his 40th Roland Garros win tonight, and tie Yannick Noah for the most at this event amongst Frenchmen in the Open era. I think I said he was 31 earlier, which was doing him a big favour. Just taken seven years off his life.
You must have been thinking of your own age, of course.
Well, I wish. Hugo Dellien is 31, but Gael Monfils, let me correct myself before Happy Me gets in touch, because she spots all my unforced errors. He is a couple of years shy of 40, but he's been around here for such a long time. 13 titles altogether in his career, one on clay, record at Roland Garros, 39 wins, 16 defeats, best run, semi-final back in 2008, I think it was. It's a long time ago, and I guess back then people thought, oh, it's probably only a matter of time before he gets to the final, maybe wins one. We know how desperate the French are for a male champion at Roland Garros. Didn't quite go that way, and there was one individual in particular who kind of made sure it wouldn't, because he peaked on the scene at exactly the same time as Rafael Nadal.
Yes, and there are plenty of opponents down the years who've been able to say that. If it wasn't for that Rafael Nadal, I'd have won that title. But I think also I'd go back even further to 2004, where he won three of the 4 junior Grand Slams, and he went into the US Open junior tournament that year on course to do the Grand Slam. I think be the first player since Stefan Edberg to do that in juniors, and lost out in the quarterfinals there. But at that point, he was very much seen as it was a matter of time before he won a Grand Slam at senior level. And I think the thing with Monfils is because he is such an entertainer, because he is somebody who almost values the spectacle sometimes over anything else. I'm not suggesting that he's not in any way a hyper-competitive individual and very driven, and he has worked incredibly hard over the years, because you don't have a career of this length without working very, very hard. But he perhaps has kind of enjoyed the joy of playing, and at times I think that's been more important to him than the win, and that's probably the sacrifice that he's made. He hasn't necessarily had the achievements, but he's still and will always be thought of as one of the most popular players of this era.
Absolutely.
By miles. You know, I work a lot on UTS events, which are you know, in a short format, lots of entertainment, lots of noise, DJs, and Monfils is made for that. Absolutely loves it, loves every minute. The crowd love him. As soon as he walks on court, the atmosphere is electric, and that's what he's brought to the sport. And you know, yes, he might have won a Grand Slam title, but in some ways, as and when he does retire, his legacy will be almost bigger than that.
Well, he has won more slam matches than any other Frenchman in the Open era. Currently at 128, 7 more than Jo-Wilfried Tsonga, Richard Gasquet, 117. He can still add to that tally. He probably isn't going to get too many more himself, but he's the top of that list. And as he's introduced by Marc Moret, listen to the roar of approval from his adoring public inside Philippe Chatrier.
And that atmosphere will just ramp up with every slam dunk shot, with every eye-catching shot from Monfils, and he feeds off that. It drives him forward.
The interesting thing about him, Ellen, I don't know how often you've chatted to him. I've interviewed him a couple of times. He's so quiet and softly spoken away from the court. It's not quite what you expect from such a flamboyant showman on it.
Yeah, I mean, I've worked with him a lot over the years in various capacities, and I mean, actually, because I used to cover a lot of junior tennis at the time where he was at the top of the sport, I was, you know, interviewing him a lot as a young man. I mean, he's still a young man.
Well, he's only 31, according to me.
Yes, he is, and do you know what? He's getting younger all the time.
Yes.
But I would agree with that. He is very gentle and softly spoken, very laid back. But as I said, he has this drive and this, you know, this ambition. I don't think you should mistake his showmanship for a lack of ambition, because both of those things are true. And you know, he's still winning titles. You know, he's still contending for titles. I'm not sure he's at the point of his career where he's contending for Grand Slams, which we might well have said, you know, perhaps 10 or 15 years ago.
Well, you never know. But we're going to find out about this match imminently, because they are underway. It's Hugo Delia serving from in front of us, all pretty in pink, with his dark hair, black socks and black shoes, and he's having to stretch on his forehand side as Monfils finds a bit of pop straight away.
I actually think it will help Monfils that the roof is closed, because I think it makes the sound bounce back down to the court. It's going to amplify everything that happens here, and Monfils is perfectly capable of amplifying it himself.
And he's no stranger to night sessions. Appeared regularly here last year, so he'll embrace the atmosphere. And of course, yes, it's great to be playing in front of your own people, but we know that brings an extra weight of expectation, and for some, that's not a good thing. Delia serving out to the backhand, shortish return, the off forehand from the Bolivian, who'll now play a forehand to the forehand side of Monfils, and then a miss hit on the forehand from Delia, and just 2 points in, he's under the cosh already at love 30.
Well, it's not an easy atmosphere to play in at the best of times, but playing a French player here, we talk about the pressure on the home players and the home contingent, but it exerts a pressure on the opponent as well.
Well, you want to put on a show. You've got the night match. The eyes of the world are upon you, so can you deliver? That'll help. Really good swinging serve, first ace of the night off the Delian racket. I mentioned he's 31, he's currently ranked at 90 in the world. He has been as high as 64, born in Trinidad in Bolivia. Hasn't picked up a career title as yet. Made the second round here a couple of times.
Light for service.
Clips the top of the tape, but he was a former world #2 junior, and he should not be underestimated. It's very easy to look at certain stats and think, oh, well, he's only 90 in the world, he's only been 64. Only? Goodness me.
Well, there is no only at this level of tennis. There's no
Exactly.
only, and I always say there's no ought. Well, X ought to beat Y. Well, who says? It's all about matchups. It's all about how you play on the night. It's about how you read the patterns of play of your opponent. It's not about numbers. It's about humans. It's about athleticism. It's about who handles the occasion better.
Well, Delian did not handle the occasion better on that point, a little bit loose, and it has created 2 break points at the first time of asking for Gael Monfils, who's crouched behind his baseline, waiting and watching and returning with a lofted backhand to the forehand side of Delian, who goes cross-court, running forehand from Monfils, and then he crashes into the hoardings. Oh no, he's gone down. Is he okay? He was going across on his forehand side, he's clutching his knee. I can't believe what I'm seeing here, Eleanor. We are used to seeing, of course, Monfils down on the ground, sliding deliberately. He didn't mean to crash into the hoardings like that, though. And now he's trying to get himself back up, and he's hobbling back towards his chair. Oh, dear, oh, dear.
Now, I'm hoping that it's just an impact where he banged his knee, it jarred it, it hurt, perhaps a bit bruised, and it's something he might be able to walk off. What I think would put paid to his chances here would be if he twisted the knee as he fell.
Well, we're getting a slow motion replay. He was sliding just a little, and then his foot got caught, and he propelled himself forward, crashed into the barriers. It was hard from that angle to see exactly which part of his body got the majority of the impact, but he has definitely hurt his right knee or shin. It looks like the knee, and his hand as well. He's trying to wipe the dirt off those two. But for the moment, he's back in his chair. Delian has gone back to his chair as well.
You can actually see on the court the large slide. There's almost an indentation in the court where Monfils' foot slipped as he went careering into that side hoarding. And the medical team are coming on court now.
Yeah, he is gingerly examining his right knee, trying to stretch it. There's no blood as such, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. A lot of very concerned looks on the faces of his family and his friends. We've only been on court for 4 minutes. Of course, he had 2 break points at that stage. 1 has been saved, but that's an irrelevance at the moment.
Well, in an odd way, you almost hope that it might be blood, because that would be a graze. And unfortunately, it looks as though it's something more serious than that at the moment. But you know, with these things, we all know we've all fallen over at various points, and sometimes it's just a shock to the body, and you can recover.
Well, he's being examined now. Amelie Mauresmo, the tournament director, is watching on very anxiously from the far corner. Oh, we were all set for a special evening here, and hopefully we'll still get one, but these are very anxious moments. I'd like to say good evening to Maggie, who's tuning in and cheering from Silver Beach Boutique in beautiful Barbados, wishing that she could be with us today. Well, do keep listening. Rob wants to know if the roof is open or closed. It is closed. We've had some rain during the course of the afternoon. I haven't seen the most specific of recent forecasts, but they must be fearing more rain, so they're not taking any risks. Jonathan's been in touch as well. I think the Empress should be careful with the roster. The combination of Sophie and Marcus will need a parental warning banner. Hey, steady on. I try and behave myself. Jonathan says, I hope that I've packed some protective clothing. I have.
I'm sure you give as good as you get.
I'm kind of wishing that Gael Monfils had some protective clothing on a few moments ago. He's now got 3 people around him, various medics and physios, examining that right knee, which seems to be the cause of the problem. He's having his hands taped up, cream being applied to them, because obviously as you fly forward, you put your hands out, and they have suffered some damage, and there's a look of real pain on his face, and maybe there is a bit of blood now as well. Just seen his white towel, or one of the towels being used, that was flecked with blood.
I think that might be from his hands. I think he's got grazing on the heel of his hands. And as I said, that knee, I think, is of more concern, because hands you can tape up. You know, players often play with blisters, and they're used to that sort of discomfort when they play. But something where he's jarred his knee,
yeah,
that is a lot more worrying for him.
Yes, I have to say that the body language isn't great. Of course, he will want to get back out and perform. That'll be the natural reaction. As the treatment continues, let me update you quickly on events elsewhere. Karolina Mukova has been called onto court Simon Mathieu to play Alicia Parks of the United States. Anna Kalinskaya and Maria Buskova are level at 4 games all in the first set on court 14. The big cheer is for Gael Monfils, who has stood up and now he's stretching a little bit. He's still looking anxiously at his hands, but the medical timeout is over and he is going to carry on.
That is very good news. Some ice was applied. That will help with any inflammation around the knee. We'll have to see in the first couple of points how well he's moving. It may take a while for him to feel confident in his movement.
Still got a break point, of course, here at 30-40, and Deliant has put his first serve into the net. The second service to the backhand. Monfils just flicks it down the centre of the court, moving a little bit gingerly and then completely mishitting a double-handed backhand. And this, well, you can just tell that he's in discomfort, just gripping the racket, particularly with his right hand.
Yes, it's hard to know what the source of the discomfort is, or what the main problem is, because I think he's feeling uncomfortable in the grip. I'm wondering about his movement around the court. I'm wondering how much he can push off on that right leg.
Well, that return has gone long, so from 15-40 and then from 30-40 when we resumed after the injury, it's now game point for Deliant. Always difficult when you're playing an injured opponent, of course. You just got to focus on the job in hand. And he serves to the forehand. It's another very awkward-looking return from Monfils, who's not moving well. He's still flicking his right hand. He's in pain. He's lost every point since coming back out. This, I have to say, Elena, does not look good.
It doesn't. And you can see and feel, actually, in the air, the anxiety and the worry that's now gripping Court Philippe Chatrier. Of course, you know, his family are here. He'll have many friends here. But he'll also have the friends who just love to watch him play. People who've perhaps never met him, never interacted with him, but have taken joy over the years from the way that he's played here particularly. As we said, he's an electric performer at his best. Let's see on the serve.
Or service, Gael Monfils.
Whether he's able to get some power and acceleration out of those legs.
Yeah, this could tell us quite a bit. That's a decent first serve, and the return is long. Crowd doing everything they can to cheer him on, make him believe.
Sometimes it just takes a while for you to trust your body again after you've had a fall like that.
Deep return down the middle from Deliant, and now an off forehand to the double-hander of Monfils. The off forehand again with plenty of power from Deliant. Now he's playing the drop shot, or attempting to play the drop shot on the forehand side. It drops into the net.
Well, in the circumstances, as ruthless as it sounds, the drop shot's a very smart move, isn't it? Move your opponent around, punish any discomfort.